for today, we're going to talk about why you need to stop playing victim and why being a victim honestly doesn't get you anywhere. So when we play victim, we're rationalizing, maybe rationalize isn't the right word, but it's like we are allowing ourselves to believe that we are right when realistically we might not be, which is preventing us from developing any future self-growth. So the more you play victim, honestly, in my mind, playing victim is the same thing as girl math, which is just basically the lack of concept of money. That's just my opinion on it. Everyone has their own opinion, but one thing that we can honestly all benefit from is by stop playing victim. The second that I started to realize where I went wrong and what I've done wrong, and I've been wrong a lot of times, as a Taurus, mind you, as a Taurus, I have been wrong. Just putting that out there. But the number one thing that you can really help yourself do in a way to really help you resonate with things that have happened to you, or where you might be wrong, or where you might be right, or where there's been like a big instances, is stop playing victim. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. The second that you stop playing victim, that is when you can allow yourself to analyze what happened in that situation. You should always reflect when something happens, good, bad, neutral, in between. You should always be reflecting on how the person in which you're having this conflict with may view it and may perceive it, and the way that you perceive it. Another thing that you should also do is just sit and think for a second. Just sit and think for a second. Just 1 second. The thing that I really lacked and that I really struggled to do was just sit and think. The reason why I actually just switched my office over into this space instead of it being over there is because honestly there's not a lot of sunlight here. I just closed this blind because I don't like the sun. It allows me to honestly just sit and absorb myself and to be one with myself. So I'm not gonna lie, I was the victim mindset's #1 contestant. I would win if there was a world's greatest victim, I'd be #1. I'm not even gonna lie. I wouldn't say I love playing victim, but somehow I always found myself in a victim mindset or in a victim state. But then I started hanging out with people, not hanging out, sorry, but I started listening to other people who have been on the other side of situations that I put someone else in, and I'm like, whoa, that's a crazy way to think about it. And another thing is that is what happens when you sit and you think and you listen. Everyone nowadays just wants to talk. They just want to talk and talk and talk and talk, and you notice it when people want to talk more than they want to listen by their eyes and body language, all this and that. But when you allow yourself to stop playing victim, that is where true self-growth is going to occur. Not everything is poor me, oh, well, they did this and they did that. Okay, so they did that to you, so you're gonna keep acting the same way and having the same instance keep happening, you having the same situation keep happening to you. Or you could look at a situation and you could say, okay, well, they did that to me, but I also did that to them, so maybe moving forward I can do this differently to prevent that from happening again. I'm telling you guys, I was honestly #1 for victim mentality, and when I realized I am not the victim in every single situation, that is when true self-growth happened. You are not the victim in every situation. You make yourself the victim in every situation, and as soon as you realize you're not the victim, I'm going to say it 1,000 times over, as soon as you realize you are not the victim in that situation, that is when you will grow, that is when you will change. You need to dig so deep into yourself. You need to feel like you aren't the victim. There is a lot of soul searching. There are deeper dives that you need to do. But yeah, the #1 thing you can start doing, and it's going to like when I had to start, sorry, not when I had to start, but when I started noticing what I needed to start taking responsibility for, and how if I took responsibility, it could actually change the way certain things were working and the way certain things were moving. It honestly changed my life. It took a lot, mind you. I'm a Taurus. I'm stubborn as fuck. You cannot get an apology out of me if you try. It's like yanking a tooth out. When I apologize, know that I mean it. And when I'm taking responsibility, know that I mean it. and know that happened between us, I'm also so quick to cut ties. So quick. If anything wrong happened between us, I'm like, I see right through you. Another thing I also struggle with is discernment, or do I just have trust issues? Or am I an empath? Or am I a medium? That's a whole nother thing. But victim mentality, stop being a victim, stop playing victim, take responsibility, say no. I know a lot of us, including myself, still struggle to say no, but when you are able to say no, a lot of things change it. A lot of things change for the better. Like there's so many different things. I don't even know, like just know. Bottom line, moral of the story is just don't be a victim. And don't have this whole fun, oh yeah, victim mentality, blah, 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 blah. The quicker you are able to get out of that and you're able to see where you went wrong is the quicker and faster that you will then transform into a whole new person. You develop better speech, you develop better auditory listening skills, you get better music tastes. I'm telling you. You just overall just become a completely different person when you start taking accountability for your actions. Things will start moving freely. They will start being graceful. They will just start starting. Be a boss. Don't play victim. Also, the less that you play victim, the less that you're going to feel sorry for yourself, the less that you're going to feel sorry for other people, and the more, I wouldn't even necessarily call it like empowered, but you are just going to feel overall like a boss. I don't even say this. So victim mentality, just stop playing victim. Own up to your actions, which is something people with victim mentality suck the living soul out of you, because how can you never be wrong? Even if something happens and you are wrong and I'm trying to show you, mind you, I'm also a Taurus, I'm also very stubborn, so I always think that I'm right. I'll admit it right now. But when people have victim mindsets and you're also dealing with them, like, it's actually draining. Something could happen and they're like, oh, well, it's this. Oh, well, it's that. And then they'll just blame everything else on someone else instead of just being like, oh, shit, yeah, I should have done that. You can smell it. From an ex-victim mentalitist, I'm not saying you can fucking smell it. It's just like, dude, just own up to it. Like, just accept it. Just like, yeah, I did this wrong. Yeah, I did that wrong. Do you know how, I cannot stress this enough. Do you know how much easier your life will be once you stop playing victim? Apologize to everyone who I have put in a sticky situation. I apologize, okay? But yeah, victim mentality is nothing but a soul-sucking, draining, fucking psychological mindfuck. And if you have victim mentality and a victim mindset, get out of it as soon as you possibly can. Own up to your actions, take responsibility, and overall just grow up. Grow up. If you want to change, if you want to evolve into who you want to truly be, then you need to kill that victim in you. You need to kill it. You need to do some soul searching. You need to deep dive into who you are, what you need to do here, why you're put on this earth, because it was not to be a victim. It was not to be a victim. And one thing that's huge for me is my childhood was not the greatest. It was not the best. But when I hear people who are fucking addicted to this, addicted to that, blah, 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 it's just like, oh yeah, it's because of my childhood. It's because of this, because of that. No. Because I went through the ringer, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But you can use that as an excuse or as a reason. And if you want to use that as an excuse, all the fucking power to you. But that, in my eyes, is just sad. But it's just like what you went through and what you continue to go through is an excuse to do whatever the fuck you want to do. Take it easy. Take the high road. Chill the fuck out. Or it can be a reason to drive you even further. Okay? However long it takes you and whatever you need to do to stop being a victim and to get out of it, just fucking stop. Just stop. And do you know how much easier it is to be in a relationship feel secure and feel confident when you know that you can admit that you're wrong, and that you know that you are not always right, and that there are other people that will be right and you will be wrong. Guys, I say this as a fucking Taurus, okay? I'm a Taurus sun, Leo moon, Scorpio rising. And I say this as that you will be wrong. You are not always going to be right. And once again, I literally will say this over and over again. As soon as you realize that, life will be so much easier. Life will be so much easier. And I struggle with this a lot with my parents, friends, coworkers, staff, all of it. It's just like, I'm trying to help you. So if you could please stop pointing the finger somewhere else, that would be great. So then you can now grow, okay? You're not going to grow if you're constantly pointing the finger at someone else. You are not going to grow if you are blaming what you did on somebody else, or on the environment, or on the situation. Honestly, also all comes down to a he said, she said situation. I have been put in many he said, she said situations, and the only way that you can make it up and make it better is like, okay, not a problem. Moving forward, I think we need to work on our communication. You need to text me what this plan is, and when we figure something out, we need written confirmation somewhere so we can go back and look at it, okay? I'm not doing this whole he said, she said shit. Because then you can go and say, oh, well, you told me to do this and she told me to do that. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Someone own up to this shit, because this is now bothering me, okay? So moving forward, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're not gonna do, and this is how we're gonna resolve it moving forward. Because why can no one just fucking take blame? I take blame all the time. Now I take blame all the time. Mind you, I was not like that before, and I admit it. But yeah, like, just being around people that have a victim mentality and a victim mindset is fucking draining. If you are trying to get into a relationship, or you want a relationship, and you constantly feel as if you are the victim, you are always finding these bad people or these bad situations or this and this and that, I think we should do just small check around the room. We should just like a small check around the room. I love a good pros and cons list, but yeah, just don't. A victim mentality gets you nowhere but stuck in a corner, okay? That's it. That's all I have to say. It gets you nowhere but stuck in a fucking corner. And until you realize you are not the victim for everything that happens in your life, that is when you'll start to grow. That is when things will start flowing for you. But until then, until then, I don't think that much will change. You can be a victim for your whole entire life. Ooh, poor me, poor me. Honestly, it'll come a time when no one's going to ask you how you are. No one's going to give a shit. No one is going to care. They're going to tell you to get up and figure it out yourself, because blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, no one's coming to save you. I honestly had to learn this at a very, very young age, and I've always been the kind of person that is like backed up myself and like been there for myself and that kind of thing. I don't really like but yeah, overall, but yeah, basically just, if you're in a victim mindset, get out of it as soon as you can. Go into some deep dive soul searching, but just get into yourself. Think about what has happened to you, why it has happened, the other person's point of view, your point of view, and what can be different moving forward, because it'll also prevent you and help you in a lot of other situations. Okay? That's it. That's all. Be a boss. Don't be anxious. Don't be a victim.